True Crime Conversations acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast was recorded on. You can call Lisa McVey many things: victim, survivor, officer. But when you hear her full story in her very own words, there is one thing you will definitely know her as: a total boss. To understand why, you have to, just for a moment, put yourself in her shoes. Abused from the age of 2, Lisa was placed into foster care before being sent to live with her grandmother, where her grandmother's boyfriend also abused her for years, sometimes while holding the cold steel of a gun barrel to her head. She is, at this point, simply surviving her life, going to school while working at the local donut store. This teenage girl has been through it: physical violence, mental trauma, sexual assault. Then, on the night of November 3, 1984, as she's riding home from work, a complete stranger yanks her from the back of her bike and kidnaps her. For the next 26 hours, Lisa is tied up, blindfolded, and brutally raped over and over again. She's not physically strong enough to fight off her attacker, but unbeknownst to the man who abducted her, Lisa will outsmart him in ways that would not only lead to his arrest, but that would link him to the deaths of multiple other women and make Lisa realise that she was possibly one of the only survivors of an escalating serial killer. But despite being able to escape the clutches of a depraved and violent man, she knows she has another waiting for her when she gets home, and a police force who doesn't believe a 17-year-old could possibly retain so much information on her attacker, not when she should be out of her mind scared. But Lisa has a superpower: the ability to remember and recall detail, and sadly, the life experience that would make her able to manipulate the violent man who took her. I'm Claire Murphy, and this is True Crime Conversations, a podcast exploring the world's most notorious crimes by speaking to the people who know the most about them. Lisa's story is harrowing. She was abused to the point where she thought the only way to end the suffering would be to end her own life. And she does talk about being suicidal today, so please listen with care and reach out to Lifeline if you need help. You can find them on 13 11 14. Lisa is very good at retelling her story. She's been using it to help people for many years now. But even now, after a movie's been made about her ordeal and many news outlets have covered this crime, we are still hearing new things about what she did in order to make sure the man who she would eventually watch die at his execution did not go unpunished. Lisa McVey explains how watching police dramas on TV inspired her to leave a trail of evidence that no defence lawyer could talk away. How she paid so close attention to the route her kidnapper took her on, she could retrace her steps while being blindfolded. How she tricked her abductor into thinking she was a friend. How she listened to his sad, pathetic reasoning for doing what he did and made him feel like she was an ally, all while plotting to bring him down. This is one woman's story, Lisa's story, but her epic tale of survival and the ability to bring herself back from the brink to not only survive but thrive is a lesson we can all learn from. She joins us now. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. You have got such an epic story, like your entire life from start to now. There's so much that's happened to you and you have done yourself that we are hoping to unpack some of that today. So thank you so much for joining us. But I guess the first thing I want to ask you, is it super weird that someone made a movie about a part of your life? Like, is that weird?
It was about getting a message out that you can persevere any adversities in your life. And I needed to get that message out to other women that at your weakest moment, you could be strong. You know, if that makes sense. I turned my adversity of my childhood into strength and courage and bravery and just wanting to live life happy and joyful and have that peace of mind that I still have life. I still have, you know, I have said it through the years in different shows, documentaries, interviews. God, you know, God has gotten me through everything in my life. And at the moment of that time where I had been kidnapped, pray. And the first thing I said, God, whatever you do, don't let me die. And I think I carried that on to a fulfilled and blessed life. And I want to continue to get out there and reach out to women, whether it's, an abusive relationship, or maybe another woman has been victimized as being kidnapped. Whatever the case it be, you could be a woman in a bank that's being robbed. You're still a victim that you can go on. But the key is you have to want and choose to. It's a big difference. It's a big step, but you got to take that step into faith and go for it. And I surely did.
Well, can you take me to the day that Bobby Joe Long snatched you off the back of your bike? Where were you at on that particular day? Because you had come from a pretty traumatic place before this traumatic thing happened to you. So where was your head at on the day that this happened to you?
The day that where my mind was, I was already being abused sexually at my grandmother's house. She had a boyfriend. They've been together for a little while. I had been living with them for, at this time, oh gosh, almost 4 years. And I was trying to go to high school. I was in high school, missed a lot of days. I mean, it's classic, right? The epitome of the poster child of child abuse. I was the one that very introvert, looked down when I walked. I didn't make eye contact. I wore, frumpy clothes. 'Cause I was being abused, right? I was trying to keep everything to myself. I ended up working at a donut shop because I can say the name, right? Krispy Kreme donut shop. Yum, the best donuts ever. So that particular day was November 2nd, 1984. I was on my way to work on a bicycle. That's my mode of transportation. And it was less than 3 miles each way home. So it was quite a distance on a bicycle, but I did it. Krispy Kreme donut shop was my safe haven. I latched on to the manager, I guess, and he was like a father figure that I'd never had a father. I think he knew perhaps maybe something was going on at home, but he could never pinpoint it. And he always took care of me there. It's like I could do no wrong. It was incredible. But that particular day, my grandmother had moved out maybe 6 months to maybe a year prior to my abduction. So leading up to that day, I was left alone with this monster, my grandmother's boyfriend, to fend for myself. And he still was, I'm going to say the word, he was raping me. Title, Florida statutes, state statutes say sexual assault. People say, they say SA. It's rape. It is what it is. He was a pedophile. My grandmother was a pedophile. It is what it is. But most of the time he would rape me. They could be 2-3 times a day sometimes. And he would use a gun at gunpoint. So I was tired. I was alone. I had no one to turn to. I couldn't even tell my own mom, my own family what was going on. I didn't want any harm brought to my family. He would threaten, he would harm my family if I told anybody. So I kept it to myself. Before I went to work, I actually sat down and I jotted down a little note. If you find this note, I'm going to be dead. I wrote my own suicide note. I was tired of living. In this little note, I said I had been being sexually abused and all that. And I was tired of living. I didn't think I had anywhere to turn to. So I stuck it in an envelope, threw it in a little drawer at my bedroom, and I proceeded to go to work. And I remember that night was so, it was different. It was so, I was at peace because I knew.
So you felt like you'd found a way to end it?
Yes. I was going to shoot and kill myself because I knew this man had guns all over the house, my perpetrator at the house, my home life. So perfect opportunity, right? So I get to work. I'm just happy. I remember I could feel like I'm about to be free from all the abuse I was having. And in high school, they will send police to the school, child abuse investigators to the school, because neighbors kind of caught on something bad was going on. But I will always deny it, again, in fear of retaliation against my own family. And that's how much I love my family, right? So the time came as, I don't know about, I worked from 2 to like 9, labor laws, even back in the 80s, there's still labor laws for kids under 18, because under 18 in the state of Florida, you're still considered a kid.
Because you're only 17 at this stage, right?
Right. So my boss comes to me, he goes, hey, could you work another shift? And this shift would take me from 9 to 2, 7-hour shift. I'm like, I'd have to call home and ask my dad. Because at that time, anytime people would see me, I was to refer my grandma's boyfriend as my father. So no one would catch on something bad was going on behind closed doors in this dark, gloomy house. Dark, it was a prison, basically. So to much of my surprise, he agreed. Just be careful coming home. Okay. And this time, my grandmother still was not living back there. She was still gone. And I ended up helping him close. And I was on a bicycle. I did have someone ask to give me a ride home, which is one of my coworkers, but I declined because I didn't want any trouble. If I was with anybody or anybody brought me home, I'd be interrogated by my grandmother's boyfriend or my grandmother, and he would beat me. Why was I out with a guy? It was a grown man. It was, he was looked after my safety. God bless his heart. And I, you know, decided to jump on my bike and ride home. And I always took a certain route. And the streets, Krispy Kreme donut shop is on the area of Florida Avenue and Waters Avenue, North Tampa. And I would ride down westbound on Waters to a street called Rome. But something startled me. I don't know if it was a car that went by and blew a horn. I don't know why I felt uncomfortable about that. I had heard about a serial killer, but like we all say, it can't happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like back in my mind. It was, I had even actually forgotten about not really thinking anything of it. So I decided to take one street over thinking maybe someone was following me. So I went to the next street over. I got halfway down the block to come up to a road called Sly Avenue. But then a German Shepherd came out of the dark and started chasing me back out to Waters Avenue. And I proceeded to continue to go back the same route I would go home every night. I continued to travel down Rome going southbound. You've seen in movies where roads sometimes like there's tunnels of trees and it's so beautiful. Well, that's how when you pass Rome and Fly and you're going southbound, there's trees that look like a tunnel. It's absolutely gorgeous. But at night, it makes it difficult through street lights because they block the street lights. And you got those pink fluorescent low lights. So as I'm getting to Rome and Sly, now I notice there's a church on the left or on the southeast corner. And not thinking anything of it. And there's a park on the west side of the road, southwest. Baseball park was a fence and 3 bases and a home plate. That's what it was back then. Now it's a huge fraternal police park and all that stuff. But I noticed that van was parked parallel to the park, right on the same side of the park. And I thought to myself, what if someone jumps out and grabs me there? Because now I'm looking straight thinking, it's awfully dark down there.
So you actually thought that might happen
Yes.
in your mind as you're going home that night?
Yes. So then I looked over to my left and I see this car in the middle of the parking lot of the church parking lot. I don't know what it was. It struck to be odd to me, the way it was parked.
All your spidey senses are tingling at this point.
Right. The front of the car was facing north and the rear of the car was facing south. And I noticed, white vinyl top, a maroon car. And it's dark, but the parking lot of the church had lights. And the parking lot, it wasn't cement or asphalt, it was gravel. So I turned my head to proceed to go forward. All the while, I'm thinking, this is going to be it. I'm going home and I'm done. Happy-go-lucky. And the next thing I know, I turned to the right. And just as I passed the van was a white Volkswagen van. And the front of the van was facing south, right? And the back of the van was facing north. And I'm thinking, what if someone jumps out the back of the van? And just as I passed the front of the van, I looked back to the road. And that's when I was incredible strength of, I thought it was 3 guys that just tore me and yanked me off my bike. I'm thinking it's 3 guys and ended up being 1 guy. I started screaming and I said, whatever you do, I said, God, whatever you do, just don't kill me. And I said that after he put the steel barrel of a gun to my left temple. I already knew what that was. I was so used to it. And I said, whatever you do, just don't kill me, do whatever you want. He drags me across the street. My bike is left in the street. I can even hear the sounds of the wheels of the bike. I can still hear it today. The spokes just click, 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 click. They're still actively rolling. Drags me to the car, and I'm kind of facing downward. He's behind me, has me with his arm, his right arm. And the minute I said, wait a minute, I'm going to fight for my life. I had something left down in me that I had to fight. But I had to fight smart. I had to fight calmly. And I had to show whoever this person was compassion, to show him that I was a very compassionate person and that I wasn't just anybody he was going to take off the street. I was going to be different. I knew at home, if I had raised my voice, if I had tried to hit my grandmother or my grandmother's boyfriend, I would get the tar beat out of me, right? I had to cuddle him. Yeah, I had to do all that. So in a sense, my horrific home life prepared me for what's going to happen for the next 26 hours. He throws me into the car from the driver's side. Then I said, before I got in the car, I got to remember what this car looks like. I remember the back wheel of the driver's side. Like you have a flat tire and you stop and put your tire back on, well, you put it on backwards. And the other tire was white wall, had a white, ring around the tire. Got in, I was white leather seats. He had probably about that big of a knife in a sheath, like a hunting knife. He had that there. I saw that, like a light brown kind of tannish sheath. Now I'm remembering all this. I'm also remembering, wasn't I going to go home and kill myself? Not today. I wasn't going to allow one more person to take my life because no one's going to take that from me. I don't care what you do to me. This is going to be my decision, right? Because I was so tired of what's going on at home. So he orders me, closes the door. He orders me to keep my eyes closed. He orders me to take my clothes off, everything. I had a Krispy Kreme shirt, it has a logo of Krispy Kreme on it, white pants. I remember having these wedge shoes, all the way up. There were wedges, they were brown. We had to wear certain shoes there so you don't slip on the floor in the back doing the donuts and stuff. And then he proceeds to tie me up. I'm assuming at that time ligatures, maybe I've like torn bed sheets. I don't know what they were. But the minute he went to go put a blindfold on me, I'm like, I can't lose my sight. I don't know what made me think of this, but I did this. And I said, you've got to tighten your jaw. So you take a piece of string, you ball your fist up real tight, tie the string, and then release your hand. The string becomes a little loose. Same concept with the blindfold. Praise God, it allowed me to be able to see beneath the blindfold. So if I would be sitting back, I could see bits and pieces.
So like you're looking like down your nose, kind of, you can see out the bottom, yeah?
Yes, but when he reclined the seat, I could see fluorescent lights on the highway. I could see, I could just see certain things or hear things. After he had tied me up with the blindfold on, he said, if you show me a good time, I won't kill you. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. He's got the gun and obviously the big knife.
My question here for you, though, is like how do you think like that when, like for the majority of us, we're going to be in like full fight or flight mode, panic mode, right? And that overrides those kind of logical thoughts, right? How do you sift away the panic and focus in on the logistics?
I imagine myself going through what I was already going through at home. I had to remind myself, even at my home, sleep with one eye open, but I had to remain calm. This guy meant business. I had to stay calm, no matter what it took. No matter what he did to me, didn't make it right, but I had to stay calm for me. I think I had already disassociated myself with the fact that he was going to rape me. I already knew that. But it was nothing new to me. I had already been raped at home. I had a childhood of rape when I was a little girl at the age of 2, spent 5 years in foster care, So I have all gone through abuse most of my life, most of my childhood. So it was nothing new about it, just a different person. What's one more bad guy? Let's appease him. Let's do what you got to do to get out alive. Let's lie, whatever you got to do.
Like that is such an awful thought though, isn't it? That you have been prepared for the worst of them.
Right.
Like that is, it's saved your life.
Yes.
And it put this guy behind bars.
Right.
But like at the same time, like how awful for this young girl to be that prepared for the worst of humanity.
Right. So, it took a lot of strength. Just when I didn't think I had any strength left, I had to dig deep down to the pit of my stomach and just say, you're going to do this. This person is not going to kill you. I wasn't going to give him the chance or opportunity to. So at that moment, he was telling me I was going to show him a good time. And then he forced me to perform oral sex on him. I'm going to have to say it. That's what happened. At that point, he pulled me back from my hair, pulled me back. He didn't complete his transaction and asking me questions. How old are you? Of course, I lied. I'm 19. You have a boyfriend? Yes, I live with my boyfriend. And he goes, well, your boyfriend's a lucky guy. Ew. So I'm thinking in my mind, ew, but anything I can say to redirect him, to show him I wasn't just another prostitute or another person he kidnapped off the road, that I was actual human being with a life. Not knowing the life I had, he didn't know the life I had. So then he proceeded to drive off the church parking lot. Mind you, I had been riding a bicycle for 4 years back and forth to work. It was 2 different locations, one downtown and one on Florida Avenue. So I knew I was very focused and I know my sense of direction. So when he left the parking lot, he took a right. He headed back northbound, traveled northbound on Rome or Sly. And then at Light, which is Rome and Sly, he took a right and started heading eastbound. And I knew exactly where we're going. We're going to head to the interstate. We get on the interstate. And the reason why I know it's the interstate, because of course I can't see anything just yet. Because I don't want him to see that I can see. I don't want him to have the opportunity. I mean, if he saw me, he probably could have punched my lights out, knocked me out, But I had to stay alert. I had to stay alert and vigilant for me. So he reclined the seat back as if, yeah, it's 3:00 in the morning, but people could still see us in the car. The windows were down, so I can tell the difference of the velocity of the wind change, how fast it was going, and the fluorescent lights on the interstate. We were on the interstate probably a good 10, 15 minutes. We get off the interstate, again, central direction. We're still heading eastbound. I have no clue where we're at. I mean, none. He pulls into a parking lot. And, if you're laying on the ground, you can see the bottom of the leaves of trees. When I'm reclining, I can see backlight of real dim fluorescent street lights. And I saw leaves. I said, this is it. He's going to rape me. He's going to kill me. We're now in the woods. So then I hear him. He stops the car. Or I can also, on the way out, I'm sorry, let me back up. On the way out there too, I could hear like the car needed a tune-up. That was very important to me, that I knew he needed a tune-up in the car. But I kept seeing the clock. There was a clock on the dashboard. When I was leaning back, it was like green fluorescent. But I kept having the fluorescent lights on the interstate. You're on vacation and your husband or whoever you're driving and you're just trying to sleep in the light. You just can't sleep because of passing lights. So I'm like, what is that on the dashboard? I, as the keen detective that I can be, I loved watching crime shows when I was little. I loved them. Magnum PI, Airwolf. I don't know if you remember Airwolf, the helicopter, civilian helping the cops, Hawaii Five-0, those kind of shows. I was very intrigued with law. Then there's a light piercing off a dashboard, like the glove box. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? Finally, and it came to me, and it showed Magnum PI. So from then forward, anything I can remember, smell, taste, hear, touch, anything, I would relate it to something I already knew. I would compartmentalize it in my mind.
So you've created like a full
Magnum
filing
dashboard.
system for everything that you've come across, right?
Right. It was a blank canvas, but I had to fill the canvas up and I had to fill that file drawer up. So in case I got out alive, I want to catch this guy. Right. I mean, as you, maybe I was being a deputy at that time, not realizing, being a police, I don't know, just was fighting for myself. So like I said, we end up in this, where the trees are, this is it. And I hear him say, get dressed. He nudges the gun on my side, just get dressed. It seemed kind of odd, right? I'm like, get dressed. He's got the gun. Well, as he's getting out of the car, I can kind of see a silhouette backdrop of him, but I can't let him know I can see. Well, at that moment, I realized he's going to rape me and I'm on my period. And yes, I'm going to say it on air. Let's be realistic. I ripped my tampon out. What better blood match? I threw it underneath the car seat. I mean, I rammed up underneath the car seat. In the movie, it dictates that I bit my finger and put it on the seat. I think it's for audience, but let's get real. I'm very real and very authentic. It was my blood match. Who thinks of it at the age of 17? Not even 24 hours before it, I wrote my suicide note, right?
That's incredible that you had that foresight.
So it's incredible that I had that with all to remember that. My concern too was he rapes me and that tampon's in me. What if it hurts me from having a kid in the future? I mean, I'm 17 thinking of this, right? So he proceeds to get me out of the car. Now I'm going to walk towards trees. And I could feel that we're eastbound. Like when he pulled in, again, sense of direction. We pull in and we're facing eastbound. Next thing I know, he redirects me to a door. And underneath I can see under the blindfold, and I can see the silver handle door. I can see it's white. I could feel the door. It's one pane glass where they put those little wood pieces to make 8 little windows, right? The dividers. So he goes, open the door. And now I see carpet. I'm like, okay. The carpet was predominantly green with black specks, red specks, yellow specks, white specks. I remember this. Wooden handrail. We go up these steps, and every single step I counted until we got the top floor was 19. The movie says 21 numbers, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to count those steps to see how many steps I have to skip to get my ass out of there to go for help. That didn't happen. So as soon as we got on the platform, I guess what was the 19th floor, 19th step, we make a quick left and a quick right. And now I know he's white, he's Caucasian. He's left-handed because he held the gun in his left hand. Now I see a black revolver. I know it's a revolver. I've been around guns. I know what guns look like.
You're listening to True Crime Conversations with me, Claire Murphy. I'm speaking with Lisa McVey, one of the only survivors of serial killer Bobby Joe Long. Up next, Lisa describes what she took notice of when she was taken to his home.
He opens the door, and the first thing I notice, I smell the apartment smelled like it had just been painted. It almost like he rented this apartment just to do his dirty deeds, if that's what you want to call it. He proceeds to walk in, closes the door. He makes a stand in this room, and I kind of look over a little bit, and I can tell we're in a bedroom. I can almost see a bed. So he orders me to undress. My ligature all off yet. My blindfold's not off yet. I take my clothes off, and I don't know, somewhere between him abducting me to the apartment, I gain his trust because I can hear the sounds of bullets falling into like a tin, those tin trash cans you have like in a man's cave or in an office or a drawer. And I can hear the sound of bullets falling into a drawer or a can. He proceeds to walk me to the bathroom, removes the blindfold, removes the ligatures, and puts me in the shower. I'm like, what the heck? And my hair used to be down to my waist. I mean, it's halfway to my back now, but my hair was very long, but I always had it clipped up in a clip because you had to wear a hairnet and have your hair up at work. And so with that, he proceeds to get in the shower. He grabs me and hugs me. I'm like, what's up with this guy? It's almost, I think he was trying to live out a woman and man.
Oh, like a girlfriend fantasy or something?
Like a girlfriend fantasy.
Yeah.
And he tells me to keep my eyes shut. Not going to happen. So I start looking around. I see it's white tile, subway tile, the medium-sized ones. I'm trying to find a window. No window. Lucky me, right? No window. But when he pulled me to, and he tells me to keep my eyes closed, well, now I know he's got brown hair because I opened my eyes up to see his hair. Short cut, very clean cut, like he just got a haircut. Proceeds to get me out of the bathroom, and that's when the first attack happened. He brutally raped me on the bathroom floor because when he threw me on the floor to rape me, he realized I was on my period, and it enraged him. Why didn't you tell me you're on your period? Screaming at me. I'm thinking to myself, you're not my boyfriend or husband. Why do I need to tell you, But I just kept pleading for him to stop. Please, I'm sorry. I meant to tell you. I just forgot. I was scared. Whatever it took to appease him. And then he proceeds to walk me after the violent attack back into the bedroom, puts the blindfold back on. And every time he took the blindfold off and put it on or put it back on, I would do that hand method with my jaw so I could see beneath the blindfold. So when he got back there, he was in the bathroom for something, but I could see into my blindfold. I can see, I don't know if he's into leopards, but it was like leopard print paintings and pictures on walls and a standalone fan, like a box fan. Then he got me to the bed. I didn't know it was a water bed. So naturally, when he pushed down the bed, I almost fell off. I'm like, whoa, made me lay down. And he crawled over me and dragged the firearm across my stomach. He goes, get some sleep. Don't think things stupid. You think I'm going to sleep? Now I'm going to try to look up under my blindfold and see if I can see anything. He must have had the window covered or something because it was always dark in there. I remember seeing a clock. It was red. The numbers were red. I was trying to see if there was a phone there. I couldn't see any phone. The movie shows I tried to call 911. Theatrics, never tried to call 911. Now I was going to put my life in jeopardy and have him kill me. So all through the night, it was awful. I won't discuss the ways he raped me, but you can only imagine every which way he did.
Mm.
It hurts. He would hit me. I got to talk to him one time and I asked him, so why are you doing this to me? And his reply was verbatim, I'm getting back at women in general. Apparently he had a broken relationship. And because of that girl, he was getting back at women in general. And I'm thinking, so what? He's abducting and raping girls? I'm not putting two and two together yet that he was a serial killer. Why would you think that, right? So at one point, when that barrette was still in my hair, after he actually bathed me in the shower, I ripped my barrette out and threw it in the bed because it's hair matched. My hair was still attached to it. Again, I got that from watching MacGyver or crime shows or Maggie Pre-I, one of those shows.
If CSI was around back then, I feel like
right?
You would have been the superstar
right.
of that.
Of the show.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and now you get older. Well, yeah, your hair naturally falls out anyways, right? So I lost count. I can't tell you how many times I never thought a human being could rape someone so many times. I lost count. I couldn't. I mean, over and over, 4 or 5, 10 times. It was horrible.
And even through all of that, you never got to the point where you gave up. You still really convicted that you are going to survive this and you're going to take this guy down?
I did not have time to give up. The time was the essence. I did not have time to give up. That wasn't me. I'm not a quitter. I'm a fighter. But I had to fight smart. I had street smarts in me. I had, abuse in my background. I use that basically as reverse psychology, I guess you want to say. At one point, he got up, got me dressed, got me, I'm assuming, the living room. That same day after the abduction, it was hours, it was like 11 o'clock at night. Airwolf was on the news. He sat me on the couch. Again, I'm blindfolded, store ligatures on my ankles, on my hands, my wrists. And a news break comes on. And it says 17-year-old Lisa Rhodes. Well, my grandma's boyfriend's last name is Rhodes. So instead of saying my real name, Lisa McVey, when I heard that news break, he had sat sandwich down in front of me in a pop, a soda pop. I don't drink soda today. I don't eat bologna today. I couldn't even eat because I'm thinking, what if he poisoned the food? I mean, right? I was dramatic maybe, but I don't want to take a chance of drinking that. Next thing he poisoned me. But when it came on, the news break come on, it became so surreal. Somebody's looking for me. Now it's going to get deep. I started to profusely cry. He comes up, puts the gun to my temple, goes, please, please. He's yelling at me. He goes, damn it. Don't make me kill you. I'm like, don't make me kill you. I can use that. So he's not planning to kill me. I already knew that right that moment. I knew he wasn't going to kill me. So I had to think smart on my feet at any given moment. Could he had a chance to kill me? Sure.
So did you think that way because that sentence made you think, okay, he is not planning to kill me. He doesn't want to kill me. That he's looking for a reason to kill you or looking for a motivation to kill you. And that hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet.
Right.
I didn't fight him. I didn't physically fight him. I never yelled at him. I did have a conversation with him. I said, again, why? Why are you doing this to me? He told me he's getting back at women in general. But after that incident, he got back in the bedroom. And by this time, I got to use the bathroom. I have to go pee, right? And he wanted to say no. And I could tell just a sense of him that he was a very clean-cut boy next door. There was no way he was going to pee in the bed because I had to pee so bad. So He gets me up to the bathroom. He goes, you got 5 minutes. I was like, I sat in the toilet. I can't, now I'm naked. I'm birthday suit, the whole works. I cannot pee. You stand there. And this man just raped me over and over and over again. I needed my privacy. He gave me my privacy and he shut the door. You got 5 minutes. And that was it. Your fingerprints are your identity. It'll lead everything back to you. I start putting fingerprints. I took the toilet cover, put my fingerprints underneath there, underneath the toilet seat, all over the base of the toilet, the shower curtain, prints on the shower, the tiles. He had another stupid leopard print, whatever, cheetah in the bathroom. But under my blindfold, I kept seeing these sneakers. I'm like, what is that? And I'm realizing right before he busts the door down, I'm like, oh, it's a chicken. Well, it turned out to be chicken. It was the old kangaroo line when they first came out. So the blue stripes on each side of the shoe and the outline of the kangaroo. It was the kangaroo line. I'm telling you, the police must have thought it was crazy. I said, he's got a pair of sneakers with chicken on it. And it turned out to be the kangaroo line. But I was right about it. And at one time, right at the shower, I forgot to say, back up a little bit, he actually had me draw my hair too with the hair dryer. Now my fingerprints on the hair dryer. Medicine cabinet, the mirror, the back of the mirror. I didn't want to put too much on the mirror because I was thinking to myself, he'll see my fingerprint.
Right. So you're putting it in places that aren't obvious.
Concealed, yeah. So if he had decided to kill me, at least they knew I was trying to fight for my life.
Next, what happened when Bobby Joe Long let Lisa go and she has to run for her life?
So lasted until next morning, almost 4:00 in the morning. The rapes continued. It was, I'm telling you what, it was horrific. But again, it was nothing I hadn't already been through. I mean, the guy that was raping me at home wasn't my dad. He was another man. So it came to, he asked me, he woke up, got me dressed, put me in my pants for work. But I guess my white shirt was too dirty. I don't know. But he ended up putting me in a dark blue polo shirt. My parent had been one of the other victim's shirts that he had. I don't know, it's a souvenir. And have serial killers, they collect things. I don't know if it was memorabilia or, ooh, that's the one I enjoyed killing, whatever it was. And he asked me, what am I supposed to do with you? And I said, listen, and this is what I said, I will be your girlfriend. We won't have to tell anybody how we met. I'll take good care of you. I will love you the way you deserve to be loved. Right? And he's like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. And I said, listen, if you kill me, I have a very sick father at home. He's all alone. I am his only living relative. Same guy that's raping me at home. Now I'm saying he's my sick father. I didn't lie about sick because he was very sick, but he wasn't my father. And he was another abuser. He goes, well, where do you live at? I'm sorry, where do I live at? I said, I live in the Wellswood area. Okay. Well, Wellswood area is not too far from my abduction, right? So by the time he got me, I was probably already into a mile down the road from Krispy Kreme. Not even a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile. So he proceeds to get me in the car, fully clothed, still blindfold, still ligatures. He stops at a bank, and of course, same seats, recline it back. One important detail I do remember in the car also was red carpet, that shag carpet. Not realizing when I first was ordered my clothes off, I was taking my feet and my feet were tied up. I couldn't move my feet. I would inadvertently rub my clothing into those carpet fibers, not realizing they're being transferred to my clothes. That's what broke the case open, by the way. We'll get to that in a minute. So he ended up going to a bank. I'm leaning back and I can see how the light backs up. His back is facing me. He's not overweight. You could tell he's gone to the gym, but he's not small. He's medium kind of build. Not pudge or anything, but he probably could lose a few pounds. Light blue jeans, white t-shirt, white sneakers, short haircut. I remember his face because in his apartment at one time, I guess where I gained his trust, like a girlfriend, boyfriend, he made me touch his face. In my hands, I could feel part marks. Almost like it acid when you're a child, the drug acid, it just puts those crater potholes in your face. Clean mustache, clean hairline, like he just got a haircut, thick eyebrows, not thick, but maintained. over face. I saw his face through my hands. It was incredible. So all that again, I'm remembering. So he gets in the car because he said he had stuff in the bank because he needed money for gas. Now I'm trying to find out where we're at. He goes to a gas station. He tells me, if you get out of this car, I'm going to go kill the clerk and I'll come back after you. I'm going to kill you. I've gained the guy's trust. Why would I do that? I'm not going to have someone's blood on my hands because I made a choice to run.
Mm.
Was I scared? Yeah, but I had to stay calm.
And so at no point did you think this is my opportunity to jump out of this car and run?
Nope. And the movie shows I tried to jump out. Again, theatrics. We get it.
Yep.
So he gets in the car and he's asked me where we go. I said, get off at Interstate 275 in Hillsborough. I live in that area. I don't want him taken into my house because I don't want him seeing where I live, right? So he gets off the interstate. He passes Hillsborough and Rome. Now, I was abducted at Sly in Rome. Hillsborough and Rome is the next major cross street down from Sly. Probably a good mile and a half down the road. He passes it and he is screaming profanities at me. I don't want to repeat them. Who's calling me everything you think of. You lied to me. This is not the area you live in. It's like, where are you at? I'm at Mendenhall. Great. Mendenhall. Busta Huey. I went to Mendenhall Elementary School. So in my head, I knew where I was at. He was just one block over from the light. We were heading westbound. He makes a U-turn. We're heading back eastbound. And at Hillsborough and Rome, on the southeast corner, was another church. So if God didn't have a hand in me getting, freed, it was a blessing. He goes into, when you're going down 2 lanes and then you want to cut over into a turn lane to like cross over westbound lanes. So he got like into, I don't know what to call those little cutouts for a turn lane, but then he ended up going, he makes a U-turn, goes back westbound and pulls into a parking lot on the north side of the road, Hillsborough and Rome. And when he pulled in, he's from his car's facing north. He stops the car, hugs me, has a baseball cap on now. And he says, tell your father. And this is so weird, right? I don't know if it's weird, poetic justice. I don't know what it was. Tell your father it's because of him I'm letting you live. Not realizing he wasn't my father. He was just like him, a monster. I'm like, okay, no problem. He gets out of the car and I thought he was just going to let me stand there, take me out and drive off. He proceeds to take my hand and walk me to a curb. And the curb is like a half moon, and there was a tree there. So the curb is encasing the tree in the middle. I don't see the tree yet, but when I was walking, I actually almost fell forward because my shoes hit the curb because it's dark. I couldn't really see. He goes, you got 5 minutes staying here until I drive off. Okay. So he drives off. I pull my blindfold down, and the first thing I saw was this beautiful, huge oak tree, which is still there, by the way. 1515 West Hillsborough Avenue. Used to be an optical outlet place. Now it's a oil testing facility for jet fuel for airplanes. And I've met the people there. They were almost going to tear the tree down, but they kept it up. So,
that's beautiful.
Anyhow, yeah. So I want to get a memorial there. I'll talk about that in a minute. So when I looked at this tree, it was like branches of life, new life, living water, God. And I'm thinking this. I'm like, wait a minute. My life's about to change for the better. I think tag number. I got to get his tag number. But by the time I turned around to run out to the street, he was gone. And that's when I saw the other church. And I sat in the curb thinking, there was like like railroad ties that made an up like wall for the business. I sat there for a minute thinking, run. He's coming back for you. Run. He's gone thinking he made a mistake. Run. I ain't never run so fast. I think I was faster than a track star, Olympic track star. I ran so fast because I knew for some reason my grandmother would be at that guy's house. Because remember, she'd moved out. So I ran, and every time a car by me, the drainage ditch that goes into the drains for rains of the gutters, I just throw myself in there when a car went by, thinking it was him. And at one point, I felt like he was driving by to see if he could find me again. And then I hid behind a car. I did everything I could to hit behind a car. I finally get home. I mean, it was quite a distance to run. I could have been home in 5 minutes in a car, but it was quite a distance to get home. I kept banging on the door and banging on the door. And finally, my grandmother opened the door. And then her boyfriend came and grabbed me by my hair. And I must have ensued a 5-hour beating interrogation. Where have you been? Who are you screwing around with out there? Who are you cheating on me with? It was awful. I kept saying, I've been abducted. I've been raped again. Again, I've been raped. You know what you do to me. And he didn't like that too much. My grandmother finally said, enough's enough. Let's call the police and let her know it's his home. Well, originally, when I came up missing, I found out that they weren't even looking for me. When I didn't come home from work, by 8 or 9 or 10 hours later, they decided to call the police saying that I was a habitual runaway and I hadn't come home. They wanted to report me runaway. I never ran away, especially with a serial killer out there. Why would I do that? You know? So my grandmother proceeds to call the police. The local police was called the Tampa Police Department. And she was saying she's home. Like I told your officer, she runs away, gone for a couple of days. She comes back. But now she's making some story up that she got kidnapped. I don't know who this police officer was, but I owe him my life. Because had he not listened to what she said, I I'm pretty much 100% sure I would have went through with my suicide. He says, she's saying she's a victim of a kidnapping. She goes, yes, sir. It's all a lie. Well, man, we got to investigate that. And that's when they came and got me. Unfortunately, I had to go to the hospital back then, not like today. I didn't have a victim advocate. I had to go to the hospital, have strangers look at me naked again. I had to get my mouth swabbed. I had to get pubic hairs pulled, hairs from my head pulled. I had to go through a rape kit. It entails of them taking a camera as close as they can to the vaginal region, taking swabs down there. For a 17-year-old, now I feel like I was being traumatized all over again, right? But we had to do it.
And did you have anyone there with you to support you
No.
through that? So you were just
No.
there with like doctors, nurses, and police officers, I'm guessing?
The police.
Yeah.
Yes. They would stand by the door and guard the door, because now, I'm a victim of a crime. So they collected my clothes. Of course, I had to wear paper clothes until they could find me some clothes to put on. And then I was taken down to the police station to give them a statement. Statement never changed. Told them what happened. Told them about the clues left behind. They decided to send in a female cop.
So you thought maybe you'd be listened to by another woman?
No, I didn't want a female cop. The reason why is because the two people, I tried to tell my mom what was going on at my grandma's house and she wouldn't listen to me. The two women in my life that were supposed to protect, nurture, and love me failed me.
Yeah.
I didn't want another female to talk to. I felt like she wouldn't believe me. My suspicion was correct. She didn't believe me.
Why didn't they believe you? Is it because you were so...
I was so calm.
Yeah, and that you'd collected so much information in that time of trauma?
Yes. They couldn't understand how I remember everything because they not putting two and two together that I was also a victim of another crime, my grandma's boyfriend who has been raping me for 4 years. Because if I had said anything, I was in fear of retaliation. He would hurt my family, my mom, my siblings, even my grandmother. Even though she allowed this man to do this to me, she'd watch sometimes. I still don't want her to get hurt because she still was my maternal grandmother. So I sat down with this lady and she also talked about was her cat, trying to build a rapport with me. I said, the more you talk about your cat, the time is of an essence to catch this guy so he doesn't do it to somebody else. How about we go look for him? Finally, I think she got fed up with me. I wasn't your normal 17-year-old girl. I wasn't the book smart girl. I mean, I was book smart, but I was more street. I was very intelligent. I like to think I'm still intelligent,
Yeah.
She finally got up, said she's going to go get me something to drink, water, Coke. I said, no Coke. I don't want any. That triggered me. I don't want any pop. The door was cracked. And I overheard her, somebody having a conversation with I guess it was an officer staying by a door, another officer. He goes, so how's it going in there? Well, there's too many holes in her story. She comes back in. I was like, I want to go home. No, we're going to finish the interview. Oh, we're done with the interview. I want someone who's going to listen to me and believe my story and not sit outside the room and thinking that there's holes in my story. I want to go home. I went home, not needing for a day. The next day they came and got me. Or they sent someone to the house to interview me at the house. Maybe I felt a little uncomfortable at the station. Well, my grandmother and grandma's boyfriend, why they listened in the other room, threatened me if I say anything about home life, he'd come out and hurt the officer or the detective and hurt me. Because they had a two-way speakerphone on the phone. So that didn't work out. The third time I go down, finally send someone with some common sense. It was Sergeant Larry Pinkerton. He was in charge of the sexual children violent crime section, whatever it was. So at this time, I'm fed up with the female officer. I'm sitting on some couch or something in the office. I was crying, and he walks in, and I'm curled up in a little ball, and I'm just like, no one's believing me. No one. What are we doing? We got to catch this guy. He walked in. He goes, and I remember him saying, and I had my head down like this. I remember him saying, "She's just a child." I looked up and like, okay. And he just looked at me. He goes, hey, we haven't even talked yet. And I was crying, and just the desperation on my face, or like, we've got to catch this guy. I was all about catching the guy, not just telling my story. I want to be part of this guy's capture. I'm 17. 24 hours before I wanted to kill myself. Looked at me. He goes, I believe you. I'm Sergeant Larry Pinkerton. Would you want to talk to me? I'm like, if you listen, I'll talk. We sat there and we talked for a while. I told everything to the T. My story never changed. No holes in my story. He had this great idea of getting me hypnotized. I don't know what hypnotism means, but I'm 17 years old. They wanted to see, because I told him about touching his face. And I said, well, I know what it looks like. Do you think you can do a sketch artist, whatever? I said, possibly. Then he said, hypnotize him. Well, what is that? I guess you have some type of counselor or psychologist come in that can hypnotize you to see if subconsciously I actually literally physically saw his face in my eyes. I did a visual and not realizing I saw his face. You know what I'm saying? So he had called home and asked them if that they have their permission because I'm 17. Of course, no, he said, no, she needs to come home and do her chores.
Mm.
Go home. The next day, I called Tampa Police Department, get a hold of Larry Pinkerton. I had some information of who my abductor is. When you first walk into my grandmother's boyfriend's house, living room, garage, to the right, there was, in the corner was a kitchen, but it was closed off, and then a dining area. The 1970s Formica tabletop metal rim and those really hard plastic chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see how detailed I am? I remember that. And the chair pattern was red, sparkly. Well, they had like a 19-inch TV, black and white, colored TV. Sometimes colors, sometimes it was black and white. I was walking by to go to the kitchen for something, thinking to myself, I got it. We got to catch this guy. And a news break came on. They have recovered a dead body, another dead body. I stopped in my tracks. The hairs on the back of my neck, up until that day, I never even thought my abductor could be the serial killer. And I'm like, oh my God, my abductor's the serial killer. I just knew it.
Mm.
Intuition, gut instinct, I don't know. So they sent a car for me. I went down there. Larry comes in there. He sits down. I tell him what's going on. The movie shows, it makes it sound like he figured out that I was in connection with the serial killer. I'm the one that said, I'm telling you, this is the guy. So we're sitting there talking. And again, he offered to get me hypnotized. Again, calls dad or whatever, calls my grandma's boyfriend, says no, send her home. He comes in. I love Larry because I've used this tactic before. In some cases, I work at the sheriff's office. Takes his wallet out, pictures of his family fall, his wife and his daughter. You know, me being a father and being a husband, I would do everything I can to be on my daughter's side to help catch whoever did this to my daughter. And I started crying. He goes, you want to tell me what's going on at home now? I guess he must have done research knowing detectives come to the school, child abuse investigators, and that was it. I unloaded. I've always wanted a father. This is what's going on. And he personally went and arrested him. I don't know how my grandmother didn't get arrested. I don't know how the TV producers of Lifetime knew the grandmother they used as the actress in my movie. When I was on set of the movie, Lifetime, believe me, the first time I saw her on screen, because I had headphones on, looking at the screen at the back when she's acting, she could have been my grandmother's double.
Really?
Looked just like her. It was amazing. They never arrested her. I don't know why. She had a hand in it. She's the one that sat me down one day after I lived there for 6 months, said, this man's going to teach you how to please a man. She said that to me.
Mm.
I didn't know what she was talking about. Later did I know she ended up raping my own mom and apparently my uncle too when they were little. So the chains never got broken with my mom. And God bless my mom. She just didn't know how. But I was to the point I had to do anything to catch this guy. So I was removed from the house. I was put at another detective's house for 2 weeks. I couldn't watch TV, read the news, even listen to a radio because they were trying to track him down. But I would be going down to the police station every day trying to help them put pieces together. Like, example, would you ride around the car with your eyes closed when we get to where you were at, the parking lot of the church and everything? Would you be willing to do that? It's like, absolutely, let's do it. He goes, you going to be okay with that? It's like, let's do it. I'd ride in the car with them, central direction, and we got in the area of where he may have taken me to. And then they start doing surveillance on him. They, two things. Forgot to tell you this, but it's really important. On the way back from my abduction, before he dropped me off, I could see beneath my blindfold before I got on the interstate, and I saw two marquees, the Quality Inn and the Howard Johnson. And they were on the opposite side of the interstate, one on the west side, one on the east side. I can't remember which hotel it was in the east or west, but I knew I was at 275 and Fowler Avenue. I knew my town. I used to ride a bicycle. I knew streets. So I knew landmarks. And when I told them that, they took detectives all the way down the corridor of Fowler Avenue eastbound from the interstate, going to banks, to gas stations, and they found a bank statement, and they ran his car onto the surveillance. They found his tag number, and the tag came up Robert Long, and it coincided with the bank statement. Robert Long withdrew this amount of money. So, and that's how they were starting to do surveillance. Everything he would throw out from the apartment in the dumpster, it's free will. Now it's not yours anymore. He's saying anybody can have it. They would take it out. Like they took the waterbed apart, put through the waterbed. I mean, waterbed, a lot of evidence. You know, you got semen, you got hair, you know, anything on there, right? So it was just mind-boggling that not even after 2 weeks, that he'd been looking for this guy for 8-9 months. 2 weeks, I helped sit there meticulously. Let's try this. Let's try this. Yes, I'm on for this. Yes, I'll ride around the car with you with my eyes closed. It's not going to bother me. I'm not worried about me being a victim right now. I'm worried about others being a victim because they may not make it like I did. They may not survive. I'm grateful he chose me, believe it or not, right? Claire, you'd be like, what? Because he chose me, not another 17-year-old. Could have been a 17-year-old that couldn't handle it and started fighting initially, and he would have killed her right there and then.
Yeah.
So,
because did he go on to kill again after he abducted you?
yes, a few. So I was in the office. I think I was laying on the couch or something in Larry's office or something, and I was sleeping, had a dream or something. And I thought it was just, the dream is so real. When Larry came in to say, hey, we got him. We got him. I looked at him like, is this a dream? What were you talking about? And I just started crying. He goes, because of you, after 12 days, we caught him. They caught him coming out of a movie theater, watching some type of Bruce Lee movie or something. And at this time, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office got involved too. So they were working side by side along with the FBI trying to find this guy. And I remember Stephen Cribb, I think he ended up being a sergeant before he retired a couple years back. His team brought him down. They called the Green Team. He put his badge on his face from him on the ground, says, she got you. Had it not been for me, God knows how many more he would have killed. I think he might have killed 2, maybe 3 after me. But I was so grateful that I was able to help them catch this guy, not realizing it was a serial killer until I put 2 and 2 together. Because they came when I went back and forth from the detective's house. I ended up going to, the FBI. They put me in a runaway center called Haven Poe under my name, Lisa, but my last name was not to be known, for protection. And I remember one time Larry Pinkerton brought me a photo 6-pack of 6 different guys to see if I could recognize who my abductor was. This is before I realized it was a serial killer for his arrest. He goes, I need you to take time, pick out the picture you think who might have abducted you, and just take your time. I had to sign a waiver and all that. And I'm like, that's your guy. Didn't even hesitate. In the movie, it shows the top left. It was the bottom right.
So even though you never took that blindfold off the whole time, you only touched his face and you picked up bits and pieces, you could identify him from a photo.
Yes. He goes, how sure are you? And I'm 110%. That is your guy. I am telling you now. Now, I knew he was the serial killer. They brought me the photo afterwards. That's your guy. And what had happened is before they arrested him, they stopped him saying there's a robbery in an area. Hey, would you mind if we take your picture? And he let them take the picture. Back then it was Polaroids, right? Yeah. It ended up being that guy, Robert Joe Long.
Was there ever a moment after he was arrested? I mean, there was a lot of evidence against him by this stage, but was there ever a moment where you thought, like, what happens if he gets off and he knows full well that you're the one who brought him down?
There was a time years later, probably 15 years goes by, that he was almost getting out on a technicality. And I had called Larry Pinkerton. I'm like, is he getting out? Because the first person he's coming for is me. And somehow the technicality, it wasn't valid or something. I don't know whatever happened to it, but he didn't get out. But he would have came after me. I decided take my life back in control, and I wanted to give back to my community. I actually wanted to go in the Air Force. I was hit by a car, thus ended my dream of going to the Air Force. I ended up not going to the Air Force. I suffered I had a severe leg injury, had to have surgery. So therefore, I couldn't go in the military. Ended up getting married, had a daughter, trying to live my life. And that was not a good relationship. It was very unhealthy, very toxic. And I had to get out, and I got out. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to get back to my community. If I can't get back to United States, I'm going to go to any local colleges, and I'm going to sign up for the police academy. And I got into the police academy. I did not get sponsored. I paid my own way. And back then, I was a single parent, but I pulled it off. I bought my very first owned firearm. I turned my adversities and tragedies into something positive, to where I couldn't be scared for the rest of my life and looking over my shoulder, who's going to take me next? So I fought my way through the academy. I was having problems with firearms, and I couldn't understand why. I had a sweet friend. Oh my gosh, he was an incredible, incredible guy. Dana Lundeen, Luden. Great guy, great sheriff deputy, taught me a lot. He goes, meet me down at the fire range this Saturday. I don't know, it was years ago. I'm like, okay. We get up to the fire range. He goes, I don't want you touching a firearm. Anything you've learned up until now in the academy, because I haven't gotten full time in the sheriff's office yet. I had become a reserve. I worked at a dispatch unit for 5 years, but I was also a reserve. A reserve unit is where you ride with another deputy, have arrest powers, but you learn you go to that step first, or you can straight to law enforcement. I want to make sure that was for me. You know what I'm saying? So I did that for 4 years, but he got me down the range one day. He goes, what's truly going on? And he goes, let's face your fear. Yeah, I said, what are you talking about? He goes, why do you think you can't shoot? Can't, or you don't want to? And I looked at him, I'm like, he goes, let me tell you something. The look on your face told me everything. It's not the gun that kills people. You have to stop being afraid. Now let's shoot. And let me tell you something. If it wasn't for that man, that deputy, my zone partner, helped me through to get through the fear of holding a gun, I don't think I ever would have been a sheriff deputy.
And you think that's because guns had been held against you so many times in the past?
Yes. It was used as a fear tactic, it was used as control. Because being raped is not about sex, right? It's about that person being in control of you.
The power,
that person hurting you to get them gratified, to get them off in a sense, So I remember in the reserve, because I had to go through reserve academy. Oh my Lord. We got a deputy named John Footman, big black dude, muscle, had his own Taekwondo studio. My daughter went to his studio when she was little. And it's funny how life's full circle. Now we're going to be working together as deputies. In the reserve program, you still got to go through the academy. And I remember fighting him. And I remember someone pulling me off of him. Lisa, it's okay. Let go, let go. I had blacked out. I was beating the snot out of him, if you want to say. And I didn't mean to. In my mind, you're not going to hit me. I am not allowing anybody to hit me anymore. I am done. I went through with my ex-husband. I went through it, Robert Joe Long. I went through with my grandmother's boyfriend. And as a child growing up, I am not allowing anyone to hurt me ever again. In my mind, psychologically, I went in protective survivor mode. And they're like, is she going to be a deputy or not? Because they're like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And there's times I see John who goes, whoa, you okay, Lise? We're so good friends, right? I'm like, yes, John. This guy's twice my size, right? Muscles here and there. But it helped me grow into the person that I was meant to be. Resilience is the one word I use. To take it further in life, after being 5 years in dispatch, where you tell the deputies where to go, what to do, what calls to go to, or taking 911 calls, and you're saving people's lives on the phone, I decided to go through the full-time academy, put myself through that academy, paid my way through that academy for 9 months while I was working dispatch. And in 2005, I hit the street as a full-time sheriff deputy for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And it's been 25 years now. So I've had a very honorable career. Anybody that can say, what do I do with my life? Look at my story. I took my life and I gave back to the people who helped save my life, and I don't know, it's something about the sheriff's office over the city police office. I just felt more comfortable with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And I made a life for myself. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very humbled because no, God can take it away. The minute you're not humble, the minute you boast and and become vain, God can take it away. Life has been ups and downs. I used to have nightmares long, long ago, but I never had really any nightmares of my abduction. Maybe one. That dream was, back in the 70s, I had those bead curtains. And I was walking in this hallway of a dark house. Might have been my grandma's boyfriend's dark house. And I remember seeing red light behind these beaded curtains. And I walk in and I see Bobby DeLong raping another girl. And then I had one that he was coming after me with his gun. He's climbing through my bedroom window at the detective's house. I remember having a dream like that. I went to counseling here and there, but I just wanted to live my life. I got tired of telling my story over and over again. I wanted to go live my life. But I think the most nightmares I've ever had was of my childhood. I think because the Robert Joe Long was only 26 hours. It was a long 26 hours. My rape at my grandmother's house was 4 years. 4 years. So I've had more nightmares of that than anything. But my nightmares have stopped. I don't really have any. If I dream, but not real often. I got a phone call at work one day back in 2019. It was April 18th. I'm good with dates, by the way. And
You're good with a lot of remembering things.
I do. So for the past 12 years, have been in school resources where in the state of Florida, every school has to be equipped with a school resource deputy. Okay. We're still deputies, just our assignments in the school. Summer times, we work on the street. Whatever special details needed for, like last summer, I worked in the detective section. I was detective in training for 30 days. Wasn't for me. I loved it, but I love working with kids. So I ended up back in school resource. All day, this area code 850 kept calling me. I don't know what 850 is. Spam, right? I'd answer, hang up. I got so tired of it. I remember chewing a kid out in the office, one of the assistant principal's office. And I answered the phone on speakerphone. And I was like, what do you want? You've been calling me all day. Sweet little voice named Michelle Johnson, state attorney's office, or up in Tallahassee. I'm Michelle Johnson. I'm calling from Governor Ron DeSantis' office. Can I have a moment to speak with you, please? I'm like, sounds important. Let me go to my office. Because we have no offices in schools. I shut the door and wow, it was a long time coming because Robert Jerlong was still sitting on death row since 84. Now it's 2019. So I said, ma'am, what can I do for you? She goes, well, as we speak, the ink's not even dry. Governor Ron DeSantis just signed Robert Jerlong's death warrant. Me being a police officer, sheriff deputy, I knew what that meant, but I said, what does that mean? I'm waiting. I've been in Tallahassee trying to advocate, a couple years before, trying to get him to be executed. Nothing's come of it, victims advocate. And she goes, he's being set to put to death May 23rd, 2019. I'm like, oh, my first reaction was I started crying because the human civilian part of me, that compassion overflowed in me thinking how much power one person has in the decision making of putting someone to death, right? He's going to die. And then law enforcement kicked in. And she goes, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. I just have a few questions. And she answered them. She goes, well, we're extending this phone call. We would like to have you up here. We're inviting you to come up here if you want to sit in the execution.
Well, can you talk to me about that? Because Like, I don't know whether you even thought twice about whether you would attend or not, but you also
Didn't
wore
think twice about it.
quite an iconic T-shirt to that event too. Can you please talk me through that?
So poetic justice, I've always said that justice was served the day upon his arrest. The day he took his last breath, with me sitting in the front row, holding Sergeant Larry Pinkerton's hand and Sergeant from Tampa Police Department and Sergeant Stephen Cribb's hand were maybe, I don't know, 8 feet, 10 feet from him. As he lay there and took his last breath, again, justice was served the day he was arrested, and justice was completed the day he took his last breath. So it was poetic justice for me. I've already been doing a lot of healing. Understand that my journey in my life from my childhood abuse, foster care, up to my abuse with my grandma's boyfriend and now my abduction, I'll always be on a lifetime journey of healing. I want to spread the word. I want to spread my testimony that just because bad things happen to good people doesn't mean you can't go on in your life. Get off your butt and do something with your life. The last thing I said in my movie to Larry Pinkerton was, "You haven't seen the last of me yet." And yes, I went. I wrote a victim's impact statement and I got to read my victim's impact statement. And one of the things was, I said, "Thank you for choosing me and not some other little 17-year-old girl." Because I got my strength back. I got my courage back. I got my life back. Had that not happened, I truly believe I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I would have had my mother and my family members visiting my grave. But no more. Hear me roar. You're not going to silence me. It's not for exploitation. It's not for money. Go on. But go on with that courage. I am a lioness, and that's how I see myself. And I'm grateful. I'm humble. Again, I cannot thank God every single day for my life. When I wake up, thank you for another day of life. Thank you for my job. Thank you for the countless lives that I want to continue to change and to help. And that's where I stand today. And yeah.
Lisa, thank you so much. Hopefully people who feel like they don't have anything to live for
Right.
hear this and know that there is light on the other side, no matter how dark
Please.
it might be in that moment.
You know, if anyone, I'm sure people are going to be listening to us, and to that girl, to the woman right now, that you can't find that little girl inside of you where you were if you were abused, reach inside yourself, hug her, and tell her it's okay. It's okay to mess up, but it's also okay to live and go on. It's okay. It's breathtaking for me to know that I can share my story today and sit here and not cry anymore. To know that everything I went through my life from the age 2 until the age of 17, I know now that I can look inside my soul, I hug that little girl and say, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. And that means more to me. You have no idea when I'm at the schools. I live alone. I have a puppy dog, as you know. When a child comes to me and says, Deputy, I need a hug today. And I look at them, I was like, oh, sweetheart, what kind of day you're having? Let's talk. But when they hug me, they don't realize how much that I just need the hug just as much, if not more sometimes.
Lisa got divorced a couple of years ago, but after we finished talking about her ordeal, she explained to us that she was actually pretty happy on her own, loving life with a gorgeous Rottweiler rescue dog by her side. She explained that she has certainly had to work through her issues when it comes to trust. But despite everything she's been through, the nightmares have stopped. She has plans for the next stage of her life, while she spends quality time with her little granddaughter. This woman, who's been deeply hurt and who has suffered through immense trauma, says no man and no thing can hold her back, allowing love into her life, whether that be from a rescue pup, the children she works with, or the men in her life. What a boss. Thank you to Lisa for helping us tell her story. True Crime Conversations is a Mamma Mia podcast hosted by me, Claire Murphy, and produced by Tali Blackman, with audio designed by Jacob Round. If you liked this episode and want to hear more from guests like Lisa, send us an email. It's truecrime@mamamia.com.au. Also, if you got a sec, please leave us a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, just to let us know what you think of the show. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back next week with another true crime conversation.